Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Stampin' Up with Jaimie. If you are catching this on YouTube, welcome. Thank you for checking out my video. This is my Wednesday night live video that I do every week. Feel free to look around. If you have any questions, certainly let me know. The link to my blog as well as my store where you can see all the items purchased to make tonight's projects will be below this video. So if you have any questions, let me know. Hi Karen, good evening. I'm just making sure I can see comments on my computer here, just checking. And I forgot to tape down my grid paper, so I'm doing that quickly. Hi Teresa, good evening. How is everyone tonight? Oh, thank you so much for sharing it, I appreciate it. There we go. Hi Barbara from Tucson, thank you for sharing, I appreciate it. I always love your little cactus that you do, so cute. Oh, you like the card? Good. Okay, hopefully we won't move around too much. I accidentally ripped my grid paper like 2 seconds before going live, and I thought, it'll be fine. Oh, there's something on it. Joanna's here. You know I made tonight's card with you 120% in mind. You and Michelle. Hi, Kim. Good evening. I'm just taping down my grid paper, and then we'll get started. This is the card we're making tonight. So, confession, I had prepped a card for tonight. Oh, when did I do that? A while ago. On Sunday, I think I did it. And I just realized I lost something. On Sunday, and because I've had a very, very busy week, as I'm sure all of you have. It's just kind of that season, it's just the way life goes right now. And as I was looking at it, I was like, I don't really like this card. I'm not going to do this card. And so, I don't know, like a few minutes, like an hour before going live, I'm like, I got to make a new card. There it is. So I quickly whipped up a new card. This is the card I made. Oh, you had to get the set. My granddaughter loves horses. Oh, yes. So does my daughter. I'm not a huge horse person, and honestly, when I first flipped through the catalog, I was like, that's cute. But I'm like, I gotta get it for her, because I can totally see like scrapbooking with it as well, because I'm taking pictures as she's doing lessons and whatnot, so I really do like it. However, I have to say, so I made this card, right? And the card we're making tonight. I was trying to find a good sentiment for it, and I have a very specific person in mind for this card, and so I wanted to use the go for it sentiment. But I'm looking at it going, it doesn't really match the horses that I picked, because these horses look like they're leisurely kind of grazing in the pasture, and they're not necessarily going for it. But anyways, I like the sentiment. I like the horses. Maybe I'm the only one that will notice that. It's like, go for it, but like, let's first have some lunch. Anyways, I don't know. That's kind of, I don't know. So we're featuring this card, and I'm definitely going to walk you through. It's going to be a normal tutorial for us. However, I am going to kind of walk you through the big shot a little bit. I'm trying to find my bone folder because I always forget it. There it is. I'm going to walk you, hi Jean, good evening. I'm going to walk you through the big shot. Normally I kind of prep the big shot stuff ahead of time, and I do some like card magic, and voila, it's all cut out and ready for you guys. But there were a couple questions that came up about it. I hope Michelle pops on at some point, because she was asking for it. If not, I'm sure she'll catch the replay. Because I'm going to kind of walk you through. Now, if you have been stamping for a while or had the big shot for a while, that's funny, Barbara. Go for it, but not too fast. That's exactly. First lunch, that's what I think. Like, go for it, but first lunch. First we gotta eat. So if you're very familiar with the big shot, you're gonna be like, I already know that. But maybe you'll learn something new, so definitely stick around. Don't assume that you're gonna know everything I'm gonna be mentioning tonight. And secondly, I also want to say I by no means know everything when it comes to the ins and outs of the big shot. So if you happen to ask a question, or I find myself not knowing the answer, I am going to just be like, you know what, I'll get back to you. So that's kind of my caveat, in case I happen to not know the answer to your question. Hi, Christy, you're here. I'm so happy you're here. So let's dive in tonight. I got my desk here is full of stuff I'm using. It's chock full. So we're starting off with Crumb Cake cardstock. I like Crumb Cake. You might not catch it on the camera, but it's got like these like fibers in it. You can almost see there's like some there's not texture because you can't feel it, but I don't know. It just has, it's not solid. It's got like these little fibers in it. I do like it. Oh, before we go on, I also am going to be referencing the annual catalog, and especially when it comes to like the Big Shot and things. So I wanted to mention a couple things. The Big Shot is featured on page, hold on, I'll get there. It starts on 214, and on 215 you'll see it has like these kind of instructions, how to use a standard die, how to use a detail die, and how to use an embossing die. Well, how do you know which is which? If you look at the bottom of the catalog down here, it tells you the gray is standard dies, the green is detail dies, and the blue is embossing dies. And then you just have to coordinate. And so everything that has a gray background is going to be our standard die. And then these guys down here that have a green background, can you see that? I apologize, my stand is kind of in the way, is a detail die. And then anything with like this kind of teal background is going to be our embossing dies. So let's say you were to buy the Eclectic Layers Thinlits. I could see it's blue, so it's an embossing die. Now, how do I know what to use, what sandwich to give? Just flip back to this page and you're going to match up that blue to the embossing dies and just layer it exactly how they tell you to here. It's kind of a cheat sheet, and it's right in our annual catalog. This is on page 215. Secondly, I wanted to show you on page 221, they have all these accessories down here. Those are kind of fun. There are even pictures. Yes, there's even pictures. Hi, Terry. Good evening. And then all of our embossing folders start on 222. And the same thing goes. You're going to notice that there's two different colors. There's like a dark calypso coral and then a light like petal pink. And you're going to see over here is our cheat sheet. So the dark kind of calypso corals down at the bottom here, it's telling us it's the Textured Impressions Embossing Folder. And then the petal pink colors you're going to see down here is the 3D Dynamic Textured Impressions Embossing Folder. If you can say that 10 times fast, you get a prize. Hi, Linda. Good evening. And so when using, let's say you have the garden trellis, you're going to see that it's a calypso coral. You're going to see that it's a textured embossing folder. And then over here, it's going to tell you what sandwich to do. And the same thing if, let's say, you had the hexagon, which is the thicker embossing folder. It's a 3D dynamic textured impressions embossing folder. And to know how to use the sandwich for that, you have the picture right there. So again, cheat sheets. I'm going to kind of go through them a little bit tonight, kind of quickly, not too quickly, but if you aren't getting it and you're like visual, maybe you're a visual person as I am, a very visual, just go reference your annual catalogs for kind of cheat sheets on how to do your sandwiches. Okay, back to today's programming. So we're starting off with Crumb Cake. This is our card. Now, very ironically enough, I am using Under the Mistletoe, a pattern from the Under the Mistletoe designer series paper. It's a Christmas paper. It's from the annual catalog, but don't put the paper away yet because there's this great what's this called? What is that called? Not checkered. Plaid. Wow, I totally blanked. Yay, Michelle, you're on. I was so happy you were going to catch it because I know you had some questions about the Big Shot. So it has this great plaid paper, and that's what I'm going to be featuring tonight. So don't get rid... Oh, I didn't get a adhesive out. I always forget something. Man, where is it? There we go. So don't tuck away this paper yet. It's great for your Christmas projects, but that plaid is great, you know, for... I'm using kind of in like a masculine way tonight. So it's a great pattern. It's got some great details in it. Don't dismiss it because it's got a Christmas name to it. Okay, this is, oh, you know what am I doing? I gotta use the embossing folder. Okay, so first up, I'm using the embossing folder. I embossed the background here, the Crumb Cake. Hi, Karen from Arizona. Good evening. And I apologize ahead of time because I was going to try and play with the depth of my camera here, but I think you'll get the idea if I just kind of go slow. So when you buy your Big Shot, it comes with this kind of pack of, it's called the Big Shot platform. So that comes with both. These are the new designs. The other one had like a hinged flap. This is much more user-friendly, very easy to use. And it's got this top platform, which is removable. And then it's got this bigger one, thicker one underneath. This is the Big Shot platform, and then this is the Thinlit adapter. When you're using an embossing folder, you do not need the thin die adapter. This is for your thinlits, your framelits, anything metal. So set that aside. We don't need that right now. We just need this big eye. And I'm using one of the 3D embossing folders. Oh, I just got the wrong folder out. I told you I wasn't going to have everything out tonight. There we go. I use this one look at this paper. It's this packaging. It's so beat up because I use this all the time. This is the Pinewood planks. And the 3D ones are very special in the sense that they're thicker. Let's see. Can I compare one? There's another one. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera, but it is definitely thicker. Can you see the difference? It is, trust me. It's thicker. And so your sandwich is going to look a little differently. If you were using a regular embossing folder, what you would do is you would put your Big Shot platform, one of our plastic plates. You would, where's my paper? Hold on, I lost my paper. Oh wow, I totally lost my paper. What did I do with it? Hold on. I have no idea what I did with it. Hold on, don't go anywhere. I may have to cut a new one if I can't find it. I have no clue what I did with it. Is it here? Is it underneath? No. I totally lost it. Where did it go? Sorry guys, hold on. I told you my desk is covered. Like it's got stuff from one end of it to the next. Oh my goodness. I think I'm going to have to cut another one because I have no clue what I did with it. Oh, there it is. It was under my card. Whew. There we go. Okay. So what you would normally do with a normal embossing folder, Big Shot platform, one of our plastic plates, you would put the cardstock that you wish to emboss in the embossing folder, and then that would go next. And then you would put another plastic plate on top and then slide it through the Big Shot. Because it's one of the thick embossing folders, oops, you're going to do it a little differently, and you're going to use one of our spritzers. I had my son fill up this one right before we went live. So these are spritzers. You get 2 in a pack, and man, you could do tons with this stuff. Maybe I'll do a class or a video on spritzing and all the different things you can do. But you're going to want to lightly spritz. I'm going to do it off camera because I don't want to get my paper wet here. But just, I kind of hold the cardstock this way and my spritzer like at a 90-degree angle and spritz and kind of let the water fall on it. Because it is so detailed, the embossing folders, it helps prevent cracking. You don't want your paper to get cracked. And then we're going to put this in. So again, this is one of the 3D ones. These came out, I want to say like a year or a year and a half ago or something like that. So for the 3D ones, you're going to do Big Shot platform, no plastic. You're going to go straight to the folder and then a plastic on top. So because it's so thick, you can't use both plastics. You just need one. Okay. And then let's see if I can do this. Oy. Take your Big Shot. Ta-da. Oh, it does. Look at that. It like perfectly fits the screen. Please do, Terry says. And you're going to you're going to push it through. Now, this little grippy thing here is here for a purpose. Like put your hand there. It gives you a little bit more oomph when pushing anything through, be it an embossing folder or a thinlit or anything of the sort. When you undo your sandwiches, oh, gorgeousness. Keep in mind when you're using an embossing folder, you will always get a negative and a positive side. So you choose whatever side you want to use. One is usually has the indents in. Does that make sense? It's got the impression into it, and then the other side has it coming out of it. In this case, I'm using the into it side. So I'm just going to fold that and crease it again. Any questions on embossing folders? I'm going to get a swig of water. I know there's a little bit of a delay, so if you have any questions, let me know. I like choices. Love embossing folders. Yes, I do too, Chrissy, because first of all, they add such nice texture to the card, and I love texture. I'm a sucker for any kind of texture on a card. And you can use them as the card base. You can use it as a cutout die and emboss it. Like, there are just so many possibilities, and it really adds an extra kind of wow factor to your card. Okay, I just went ahead and adhered that under the mistletoe pattern to the top. Now let's talk thinlets and framelets. So honestly, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I thought I knew the difference between a framelit and a thinlet. I was always taught that a framelit is kind of the outside, like that would be a framelit because it's like frame, right? And something with more detail would be like a thinlet, okay? However, when I was going through my dies and looking about what Stampin' Up! Called a thinlet and what they called a framelit, I don't know if my explanation is true. So for all intents and purposes, we're going to say that they're basically the same thing. So you have framelets. Oh, you can't read that. Framelets such as the Nature's Roots framelets. We're going to use that tonight. And I chose this because inside a framelit, you can also have embossing. So I'm just going to take a pause on the card here. I'm sorry. We're going to be talking Big Shot tonight, ladies. I apologize if you're like, oh, I already know this. Consider a refresher course. So in this case, the Nature's Roots framelets, you have this guys that cut out the outside. I should have done some examples, but I guess I didn't. But then you also have these guys. These are some of the leaves that emboss. So if you look on our card, these little guys here, is the light catching it? You're going to see that they have like the leaf veins going through them. So although it looks like well, I guess it is. Although it's metal, like a framelit and a thinlet, you would think, oh, it cuts out the outside. It actually embosses all those veins in it. I hope there isn't a pop quiz next week. Oh, there will be. No, just kidding. That's funny. So these, for example, are your framelets. I took these ones out. This is Springtime Impressions Thinlets. Not to be confused. So see how detailed that is? That's why I think a thinlet is considered anything that has a lot of detail in it. That's a thinlet. Set that aside. And then there's edgelets. These are the Lovely Flowers edgelets dies. And because they cut out, guess what? The edge has all these two guys here that cut out the edge of cardstock along the edge. Okay. That's kind of the difference between those. Again, I didn't prep anything ahead of time, so I'm going to be doing it live with you. And you know what? I don't know if you noticed this, but I used the rectangle stitched dies here. Can you see the stitch in it? Ooh, it's there. There we go. And I realized that I am using them 3 weeks in a row. Can you tell I'm like a huge fan? I love these guys. I could use them all day, every day, honestly, and any project. We're using this guy here. This is the third rectangle in. And so I kind of I did explain the Big Shot platform. Whenever I'm using anything metal, I do like to use the magnetic platform. And honestly, apart from embossing folders, I only use the magnetic platform, really, because it holds everything perfectly in place. So when you're trying to, especially with these leaves, they have to line up just right after you emboss it. And this guy, they can be like, woo-doo-doo-doo, kind of floating all over the place. Whereas if I'm using my magnetic platform, it holds it down and makes it go in a certain spot. So if you don't have the magnetic platform yet, it's something I would highly recommend. It makes lining up images so much easier. Okay, so I'm going to first cut out this rectangle here. So I'm going to use my magnetic platform. I'm going to put down a plastic plate, my cardstock, and then my framelit, and then my other plastic plate. So there's always a sandwich, right? There's always like a stacking that goes on, so to speak. Okay, let me bring my Big Shot over. Ta-da! I apologize that every time I do this, I know it shakes your tape like your the camera a little bit, so I apologize. Yes, the magnetic platform is great. It really is a lifesaver, especially when you're trying to line up dies over stamped images and you need it just right. So here's our rectangle, stitched rectangle. Again, it it stitches the inside of the rectangle. Can you see that? Ooh, as well as the outside. Double wow. I can't get the light to catch it. That is stitched too. And here's our card. Just a reminder what we're working on. Bring it back. Bring it back. Using the horse from the Let It Ride stamp set. It's from the 2019 Stampin' Up! Occasions catalog. It's a new stamp that came out. Oh, excuse me. I'm getting a little hoarse. Apologize. Okay. And I am going to use our Stampin' Blends markers, Old Olive and Crumb Cake. So let's see here. First, I'm going to ink my horses in Memento. And when I'm using Memento, I don't know, I like to go stamp or ink to stamp. Usually I do it the other way around, but with the Memento, I really need to kind of push. So I like to do it that way. And I think I did them kind of in the middle. Did I? Yes. I had to check. I wasn't even sure. A little horse, as in the stamp set. Did I say a little horse? Did I say that? Oh my goodness. I don't even know. Did I say that? I probably said that. That's why you guys are saying that. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I don't know how many of you guys were on last week, my video last week, where I kept saying Calypso Coral instead of Coastal Cabana. I just could not say it right. I just kept saying the wrong color. I did say it. Oh my goodness. I said a little horse. I said that, did I? I don't remember saying that. Anyway, so I thought it was really funny because someone commented on my YouTube channel today. They're like, you keep saying Calypso Coral. I'm like, yeah, I know. I caught myself a few times and sometimes I didn't catch it. Did I see a little horse? That's funny. Okay, so next I'm taking these trees and kind of, I don't know, adding them, but they're not really the scene. They're not really the focus. The little horses are. Oh, that's funny. I'll have to go back and watch my video, although I hate watching myself back on replay. Okay, and then this guy, I want him a little bit more in the picture. Like that. Okay, so those are our horses and our trees. Again, the trees are these guys here, and then I'm using those two horses. Now, these, normally I'm kind of like, I take my time with coloring. This, I literally just threw it on. I was like, we're just getting this guy colored. It doesn't really matter. And he's kind of artistic looking anyways. So normally I would also kind of prop this up for you to see the actual coloring, but I figured I literally just kind of threw the color on here. So first I'm using the light Calypso. Oh my goodness, I was going to say Calypso Coral. What is my problem? The light Crumb Cake. It's the C's. I'm getting hung up on the C's. This is Crumb Cake, the light Crumb Cake Stampin' Blends. And I'm going right on. That was just normal Whisper white cardstock. You don't have to have watercolor cardstock for Stampin' Blends. Now I'm going to take the dark Crumb Cake. And I don't know. I just am throwing this on. There's really no rhyme or reason. The horse kind of does look a little artistic. Like you can see his legs, they're not too, defined. So I figured I would just kind of throw some color. Now I'm going to go back to the light one with the brush this time and go over the whole horse again, kind of blending the two shades together. And you don't want to cut, this is a nice small space, but generally speaking, when using the Stampin' Blends, you don't want to cover too wide a space, because what makes them blend so nicely is that the fact that the ink is still wet, if that makes sense. Okay, moving on. Now we're using Old Olive. Oop. For some reason my paper is like warped. It's not staying flat. I apologize. And I'm just kind of going over the black and the grass. Again, just kind of throwing it on there. I'm not thinking about it too much. Maybe I should. No, it's artistic. We don't want to don't overthink. And then I'm using the finer tip because I want a little bit more control. Now I'm using the dark Old Olive again, just kind of like, you know, adding some lower lighting highlight. No, yeah, low light, not highlight, low light, like so. Okay, ta-da! That was probably the fastest coloring I've done. It's my kind of coloring. Throw it on there. Okay, so this is our card. And, oh, did I not cut it? Oh, I didn't cut it. See, I feel like every week I always forget something. Maybe because I prepped the card like an hour beforehand. Okay, let me get my trimmer. Hold on. Oops. So, let's see here. I gotta measure it up. I think it was like a little bit under 2 and 3.5. A smudge, and then a smudge. Okay, this is Night of Navy. So the little grain in there is actually Night of Navy. Oh, I do so. They intimidate you, Kim? Oh no. Oh, that's a little thicker, but that doesn't matter. Does that matter? I actually think I kind of like it a little thicker. We're gonna keep it. They intimidate you? No. I just tape it on and cut it out after. Save the measuring. Christy, you crack me up. And I lost my adhesive. Hold on. Again, I'm sorry. I have stuff all over because I wanted to have a nice variety to show you guys everything. So you like it? Okay, good. I'm not going to cut it again. I'm going to leave it thicker. And okay, so I originally wasn't going to do these leaves, but I actually kind of smudged the memento under there. There's a little bit of a fingerprint. So I thought, oh, I didn't feel like doing it all over again. I thought, oh, what am I going to do? So I just figured I would cover it. When in doubt, just cover it with an embellishment or some sort of detail. So I took some linen thread, which is my absolute favorite. I go through this stuff so much. I use it on so many of my cards. I think the new ones are spools, but I still have this one, which is kind of wound around. So it's got kinks. Just kind of pull it straight. And I wound it around, I think, twice. And my scissors would be somewhere. There they are. Embellishment opportunities. I like that. Yes. There's like a meme out there and it says like, I don't know, I can't quote it for sure, but I have put it on my Facebook page before, like yeah, something along those lines. Like a mistake is just an embellishment. Yeah, something like that. An opportunity to use an embellishment. And okay, so here's my trick when wrapping something around and then trying to tie a ribbon or a bow. Because it's always, unless you have another person here to kind of lend you a finger to kind of hold it in place to get a tight ribbon, it's kind of hard to get it close to the card. So what I do is I just tie it normal and it's kind of loosey-goosey. First I have to fix it though so it's pretty. There we go. It's kind of loosey-goosey. So in order to make it tight, make sure it's like, you know, not too floppy, what I do is I put some adhesive in the back and then I take my fingers and I kind of like, I don't know, squish it together so that all that extra ribbon or twine or whatever it is kind of makes it taut again. Does that make sense? Because it's so hard to be tying a bow and worrying about if it's tight on the card. So I just let it be loose, like, oh, it's gonna be loose and I'll figure it out. And then that's my little trick. I put a little adhesive on the back and then kind of use my fingers to kind of scooch together. You spritz color on a finished card today because of a smudge. Exactly. Yes, 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 yes. Exactly. I love it. Okay, let's go ahead and do the sentiment. I put go for it again because my horse looks really, my horse looks like he's just raring to go. I wanted that sentiment. I needed to go for it. However, I also have Let It Ride, which would fit there. Or I could find something else if you didn't like either of those. So let me know, because this is going to be someone's card. I have the one I need. This is the one I'm going to be mailing out, and I know exactly who's going to be getting it. But I'm just looking to see what I have. You let me know. I'm going to take another drink of water. You think about it, and I can do Let It Ride. I could do the Go For It, which is kind of funny. Or I could do like a hello. I'm sure I have a happy birthday somewhere that would be small enough to fit in that space. This guy wouldn't really fit. If nobody says anything, I'm going to do the Go For It again, because I think it's really funny. Think about it. While you're thinking about it, I'm going to get my cardstock ready to cut out here. Let's see here. Oops. Oops, oops, oops. Okay, nobody's saying anything, so I'm going to just use the Go For It. Do I already have it? Oh, I already have it on a block. Now, here's the other thing. I did it in Night of Navy because I wanted it nice and dark. However, in kind of thinking through it, I thought maybe the old olive would look nice. Kind of be a nice kind of contrast, because there's already Night of Navy there. So I think, unless anybody opposes it, if you think you're going to get tonight's card and you're like, no, I absolutely despise old olive color. Did I say Old Navy? I might have said Old Navy. I don't know. Do you all know what I mean? So regardless of whether it comes out right, just imagine I say it right. Okay. Now, I already kind of tested it ahead of time, my little trick that I do, but I'll show you in case you're catching this for the first time. Anytime I'm using, in this case would be a cling mount, anytime I'm not using photopolymer, let's put it that way, it can be hard to know whether the sentiment is straight on the rubber stamp. So what I do is I ink it up, and then I just kind of test it on my grid paper. I'm like, according to my label there, this is straight. Yep, and it pretty much is. I tested it beforehand, so I knew it. So now I know I don't have to compensate for it one way or another. I can go straight on. Let's see here, but I don't want to go where, there we go. And I'm going to tuck it in that right corner. Hopefully it comes out well. If not, we'll have to think of something. Nope, we're good. Oh, I like it in the old olive. I like it. It gives just a little bit more contrast, I think, to the Night of Navy behind it. Okay, and I adhered this down using Stampin' Dimensionals, which are here. I think, if I can get my hands on it. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that. Peel them off. And I'm going to kind of tuck him up and to the right a little bit. Like that. Okay. So next I'm going to create or cut out these dies. I thought they would kind of showcase both the embossedness of the thinlits as well as how they work. So let me set that aside, and again, I'm going to use my magnetic platform. I use this a lot. Like I said, it's between, if I'm using thinlits or framelits, I'm using the magnetic platform. So I highly recommend it if you don't already have it. If you do not have it, actually I should show you this, and you wanted to use a thinlit, you would just use the Big Shot platform, and then I will use it. So you get the idea, and then okay, so first would be your Big Shot platform. Next would be the thinlit adapter. It makes sense. Or thin die adapter. We're using a thinlit, so that makes sense. Next, we're going to use one of our plastic plates. And next would be our paper, our cardstock. And then next would be our thinlit. In this case, I'm using, again, from the Nature's Roots framelits. This first we're going to emboss. So first you emboss and then you cut out in order to get those leaves. First we're embossing. And then you would finish that with your second plastic plate. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do them both at the same time because I can. Okay, and then this is, Night of Navy and then Old Olive. And I'm using the smaller of the leaves from that same set. Tuck him over there. Hopefully they don't move. That's why I like to use the magnetic one because, see, that one shifted. Hold on, let me just fix them. When I cut them out, I'm definitely going to have to use the magnetic one. Okay, and push them through. And if your plates are new, keep in mind it's going to crack. It's going to sound like crack, 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 crack. Not always, but sometimes it does. But that's perfectly normal. It's just cutting in to your plastic plate. So if you see my plastic plate, I don't know, can you see the reflection on it? It is totally beat up and cut up. It's been used over and over and over and over again. And so it's just kind of cutting. The plaid DSP was Under the Mistletoe from the annual catalog, Linda. Yep. And basically, you can keep using these until they're all boogered up. Just make sure you're flipping them because they're going to want to warp. So when you start to notice like it goes, flip it over. Just constantly be flipping them, using one on the top, one on the bottom, and flipping it around, and just keep flipping them back and forth. I've never had one crack on me. I'm always kind of flip-flopping them all around. I guess that would be another tip for your plates to make them last longer. Now, we embossed the leaves. They're embossed. Oh, I'm trying to grab the light. Can you see that? There's one. It's there, I promise. There's the other one. To cut it out, I'm going to use the magnetic platform. Now, keep in mind, when using the magnetic platform, no, that's not it. Sometimes the thinlets and framelets will, like, jump. Like, the magnetic is kind of repelling it. Like it just did it there. It doesn't want to kind of go over where I want it to go. In that case, just kind of move your cardstock around until it stops moving. It's perfectly normal. It's the repelling of it. I have seen some demonstrators use them even when they are cracked. Oh, really? Yeah, I mean, I guess they would still work. You just would want to be careful that you don't cut yourself on if there's like a sharp edge. But yep, just keep flipping it around. I've never had one crack. I buy new ones every now and then because there's just something so exciting about a new plates. But honestly, they're still good. There's nothing wrong with them, even though they're all kind of scratched up. So in this sandwich, we have the magnetic platform, one of the plates, cardstock, then my framelit, and then another plastic plate. Oops, I think that might have shifted. Let me double check. Let's just take a peek. Nope. Oh, see, we're good. See, even with me kind of moving it, it held it in place. And wind it through. Ta-da! Right, and then you get these guys, which are just, they're so pretty. I haven't used the Nature's Root set in a very long time. I'm kind of obsessed with all things Occasions catalog right now. So it was kind of fun to bring this guy out again and give him some use and some loving. Because I really, it's great for masculine cards. I think this would be a great masculine card. Or you could, not use it as a masculine card. You could use it as a more feminine card. Oh, beautiful engraved flowers. Oh, okay. My voice is going hoarse. I apologize. Okay. I'm going to use a dimensional behind these guys and just kind of tuck him like where the stem would be underneath kind of where my linen thread is there. And then this guy, I have to do it on this leaf because the other one kind of overlaps like so. Let's see here. Okay. The sticker stuck to me. Does anybody have any questions as I'm wrapping up here about the Big Shot? About any of the layering? Oh, gotcha. That's okay. I'm trying to think. I think my magnetic plate has one. I did it one time too. No big deal. Our little secret. Does anybody have any questions about the Big Shot or any of the products that I used before we wrap up tonight? I want to give time to answer any questions. if you have any questions about any of the framelits. Oh, this is so, I used the Nature's Roots framelits dies, but it does come in a bundle, just so you know, with the Rooted in Nature stamp set, just so you know. Oh, thanks, Karen. Okay, I'm going to wrap up tonight. If you guys have any questions, even as you're using the Big Shot, always feel free to send me a message, a message on Facebook, either in the group, and I usually see them pretty right away, and I can get back to you fairly quickly unless I'm at work and don't have my phone handy. What about the thick foam things? Okay, so I don't have one with me. Those are... Stampin' Up! Doesn't sell those anymore. Like the ones that have the super thick, like black, like foam in them. Hard plastic with foam inside. Hard plastic with foam inside. And they cut out like shapes and stuff, Joanna. They are called, I can't think what the name of them are, but they work too. What you would do is, you would put, I gotta think. You would put a plastic plate. You would put that thick foamy thing, your cardstock, and then another plastic plate. That should work. Okay, yes. So that sandwich would be plastic plate, that black foamy thing. I can't think of what the technical term of it is. Then you would put your cardstock, and then you'd put another one of these plastic plates on top. Does that make sense? I think that should work that way. I haven't used one in a really long time. Stampin' Up! Doesn't sell them anymore. They used to, so you could find some like retired product using it. Hi, Amy. Good evening. No problems. We are on... Oh, that's so fun. I wonder if you guys live near each other. That is... I mean, Arizona is kind of a big state, right? Oh, that's so fun. I love it. Okay, so I'm wrapping up for tonight. If you have any other questions, send me a message. If you're in a bind and you're like, I don't know what to do. Again, you can always, there you go, Suzix. That's the company that puts it out. You can always shoot me a question on Messenger if you have any questions about any of the product that I used. Again, the Let It Ride is in the 2019 Occasions catalog. If you haven't gotten one yet and you would like one, please get a hold of me and let me know. But please, 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 please include your mailing address, because I can't get them out to you unless I have a mailing... I drop everything. I can't get them out to you unless I have a mailing address. So keep that in mind. Thanks, guys, for crafting with me tonight. It was so much fun. I was looking so forward to it all day. And I hope to see you again next week, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here. If you're watching and you haven't left a comment yet and you would like tonight's card, just drop some sort of a comment below, because I'll do the drawing right away for the card. Good night, everyone. Have a great night. Talk to you later.